Okay, I got some of the decal work done. Gonna have to finish up the rest of it in a little bit. I just got done adding some more decals and this wee bit of railing that doesn't come with the kit. This is brass etch that my buddy John made the patterns for. Now I'm going to cut a piece of PETG to go over this area where the windows are going to be. This will be fiber optics and or LEDs. I'll take the PETG, tape off little squares, then sand it with 400 grit on the back and shoot it with opaque to opaque the windows, shoot it with flat black, then shoot it with primer and then white, so it'll match up and you'll have windows here. Anyway, we'll check back on that later. Just got the last decal on the shuttle bay deck, so I'm going to let that dry and then hit that with some flat. So we're moving forward. Check back on some more stuff here in a minute. I've been sanding and cleaning and touching up and painting most of the small fine details. So I'm going to add the decals to the Type 3 shuttles and the travel pods and probably the work bees. So I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to move on to the lower primary hull. At any rate, everything is coming together slowly but surely. Not exactly the kind of model you want to get in a rush on. Now I've got the arboretum done. I made my own piece for the arboretum roof and drilled holes for lighting. I've got the impulse engine done pretty much. I need to seal it. Moving forward. I did want to show this. This is another piece of brass that comes off the patterns that my friend John made. I'm going to be placing this on the outside of the primary hull to replace the part that comes with the kit. I think this is a lot more accurate. It's going to look better altogether. So this is going to go on the saucer section or primary hull. Well, look what showed up at my front door. Woohoo! The Revell Original Series Battlestar Galactica 30th Anniversary Kit. Yes, this is a couple years old, but you know what? I got this on eBay for half of the price of the Mobius kit. Now, I will be getting the Mobius kit, I'm sure, but not until the price comes down or I get a good deal. I'm sorry, I just never pay full price for a kit. I don't pay full price for anything if I don't have to. There's just no reason to pay Cadillac prices for a Chevy Impala or Lincoln Continental prices for a Ford LTD Brougham. At any rate, this looks like a really good kit, and it looks like it's going to be cheap, or it looks like it's going to be easy to build with maybe a little bit of filler, and it's going to be easy to light. Let me open up the bags and have a look at the parts. Okay, I've opened up the bag and pulled out most of the main parts. There's still a couple of parts in plastic, but I won't be using them until the end of the build, if at all. At any rate, you can see the detail yourself. Okay? Really crisp, clean, sharp detail. Okay? Now I'm not going to go into the uber anal absolute accurateness of this kit just yet, because frankly it looks like a really good kit from the outset. Now the only complaint I got about this, which it really isn't a complaint, if I would have been manufacturing this, I would have made this part clear so that it can be at least seen through the vertical portions of the screen. This reminds me of the louvers on the cars back in the 70s that they put on the backlashes of the... Okay, here we are with the original series Cylon Raider, excuse me. And I've already covered both the top and the bottom with a couple of nice coats of gray primer. Okay, now I hit the louvers for the front with some flat black. I'll have to mask this off and do some detail work on that later. And I hit the back exhaust with, as you can see, some darker primer. Now this is just prep work for later on, but there's not a whole lot I can do with this kit until that enamel is fully cured and set up. So I'm going to give this about 3 days, put it back in the box, and I'll work on this a later date. And here we have the Polar Lights repop of the old AMT 650 Romulan Bird of Prey. And it's pretty much the same kit it was a lot of years ago, with one exception. They did make these correction nacelle Bussard collectors or end caps, hemispheres, whatever you want to call them, that's up to you. It all looks pretty much the same as it did 30 years ago, with that one exception. The one thing about it that they did not change, unfortunately, is that it's not accurate. This should be at an angle. Instead of being at a right angle, it should be out at more of an angle. So that's wrong. They've got the windows designated on the top of the primary hull, but they've got nothing on the front and sides. So you don't know where to drill the holes unless you do a little research. So basically this is the same kit. I'm going to correct it. I'm going to have to cut the top off at the proper depth and come up with an extension so it looks the way it should as seen in the television show. I'll show a picture of that right after this. So there we are, same kit, one minor correction, not a whole lot to say other than the fact that I don't remember the decals being this garish. I mean, they literally look like fluorescent international orange. So I'm going to be scanning these and printing my own because I do not like this color. At any rate, there you have it. Alright, I wanted to come in and take a little break from the heat and do a little demonstration. Now, this is a vacuum formed 3/50th version of Richard Long Rel's resin version of the 1/350th Romulan Bird of Prey. Now, this is a friend of mine, Scott Einoff, puts this out through AW Studios. If you want one of these right now, you've got to have it. Contact me. I'll tell you how to get one. If you can wait, I'm going to be putting one out, my own version. I've done my own measurements, my own research, and come up with some changes that I really think are relevant. So if you want to wait a little bit, I'm going to be putting one out much like this, only it won't be a vacuum formed version. Now, having said all of that, this is the 650 version that comes straight from AMT, which was a repop of the original, or well, that came from Polar Lights. It was a repop of the original AMT kit. Now, as you can see, this isn't nearly as accurate as it could be. Unfortunately, for some reason, even though AMT built the original studio models, they didn't pay attention as closely to any of the original series kits except for the Klingon model, which was rotoscoped directly from the master. Why they didn't do the rest this way, I don't know. But you can see the difference. You can see the difference in the shapes and the angles, the bridge, BC deck, whatever you want to call this here. The overall shape's different. The fact that this is flat in the front, whereas the original was not. And I will show a picture of the actual original studio model. Now, I've already got this really about 3/4 of the way done. I want to finish it, but right now I need to get on to some other things and I need to get caught up with my build-up, so this is kind of taking a back seat, unfortunately. Also, I've been waiting for for a replacement on the fin that goes on the back here. I misplaced mine, and I'm kind of waiting for the strip that shows the windows. If I don't get that, I'll probably just go ahead and use the references I've got and come up with one and drill out the windows and get this done. Anyway, here's a side-by-side comparison. between the actual AMT kit and a vacuum form version that's more accurate, but to my way of thinking, not accurate enough. My buddy Scott knows I'm doing this, so I'm not stepping on his toes, so there you go. So much for that. Okay, back to the 650 for a minute. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to make this as accurate as possible. I'm going to drill out all these windows. Then I'm going to sand the snot out of it with a sanding block to bring some of these soft edges into sharper focus. And I'm probably going to trace this outline, extend it out a little bit, cut this off all around here within about, oh, I don't know, a 1/16 of an inch. Then I'm going to come up with a plate that goes underneath this, then use the part that I removed from here along with the bottom and try to come up with an accurate part to replace the inaccurate parts of this ship. So we'll check on that progress a little bit later. And here we have Gabriel Kerner's Viper that is a current work in progress. Okay, I've done a little more detail to it. I've still got a lot more to go, obviously, but it's looking pretty good all in all. Now, I've got these out. I picked these up for $1 a piece at the dollar store. These little light lenses in here are almost a perfect fit for the inside of the engines, for you to light the engines. So that's what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be pulling the lenses and the LEDs and everything out of these dollar store items, and I'm going to be using them to light the engines. And I'm going to have one light inside the cockpit reflecting up to the pilot. So it's going to be really simple, but it's going to look good and it's going to be lightable. This will go out to Gabriel as soon as it's done. And here we have the Polar Lights repop. Polar Lights repop of the old Lindbergh moon ship. Now, Lindbergh originally put this out, but this was actually very, very, very close to an original 1952 Wernher von Braun design of a moon ship. This is a great retro kit. I really like this. Now, I haven't decaled this because I've got plans for this that are a little different than the standard as usual. So I'm going to leave it just the way it is for now, put it on the shelf and do some detail to it later. I really like the way it looks right now. I mean, it really looks like something from the late 50s, early 60s that's under construction, just waiting to be sheathed into a housing before it goes off to the moon. Anyway, so much for that. Here we have the Polar Lights repop of the AMT repop of the original MPC Space 1999 Eagle. Woohoo! Love this kit. I haven't built one of these since I was a kid, literally 75 or 76. My goodness, that was a long time ago. Wow. Okay. Well, as you can see, I didn't wait. I didn't wait to do the kit review. I jumped in and started building it toot sweet. Couldn't wait. Couldn't wait to get my greedy little fingers on this kit and start playing with it. Now this builds up to about 12 inches long, and it's a really nice kit for considering that it's a mass-produced styrene injection molded kit. Now there are some more accurate kits out there. There are some larger kits, but every one of them usually costs a small fortune. So for less than 20 bucks, I picked this up, I think, for 16 or 17. I've got a good 12-inch kit that's going to make for a nice build and a nice diorama with a couple of things I'm going to add to it. Now, I'm not... All right. Now, as you can see, I've done the prep work on the refit or the repop of the Eagle. I've painted primer over all of the main body parts. I shot the front with black for both windows. I'm going to drill both windows out and light them. Shot the back with primer, and I shot the tanks with the same color of orange that's used on the space shuttle main tank, because I kind of like the effect. Now after this is fully cured, I'll tape this off and paint the attaching framework silver chrome. I've painted all the engine bells and exhaust silver chrome, as well as the frame that holds the engine bells. I haven't touched the cage. There really doesn't need to be anything done with that, but shot with some flat white. I'll shoot the little retro rockets with silver gray, and I'm gonna go inside right now, take a break from the heat, and do a little work on the main housing. So there we are. Alright, here's another little something I'm going to put together and test. After I've built it and tested it, I'm going to be redesigning this circuit and expanding its matrix and breaking the parts up into two separate, different, identical readouts. Now, this cost me just a few bucks online. It's a, what do they call it, a future kit. So you might want to look this up online, futurekit.com. They have a lot of existing electronics kits that you can modify and put into your dioramas, your model builds, etc. You know, once again, I just can't see paying $50, $75, $100, $125 for a kit that's no more than 50 cents, a couple of dollars worth of parts. Literally a couple of dollars worth of components. Now they've laid all this out for you. You've got a board, you've got your LEDs. This kit actually includes solder and more involved directions than the Velleman kits that I've been building. Anyway, I'm building these just to show you there is a lot out there at very economical prices, and you don't have to spend huge amounts of money for plug-and-play kits. Again, I'm going to be putting out some kits of my own, but I'm going to make them as affordable as possible. Check, two. I got a girl, she lives on the hill. She won't do it, but her sister will. When she boogies, she do the tube stick boogie. Well now, boogie little baby, boogie woogie all night long. Blow your top, blow your top, blow your top. Well, guess what, boys and girls? This is the phaser fire control circuit. This is yet another VU meter or sound to light meter. As you can see, I've modified it slightly. Just finished soldering this together and couldn't wait to show it. So here you go. Lance, this is coming to your house because I've redesigned this circuit already, expanded the matrix, and this is what I'm going to use for your phaser fire control output circuit. So when you hit phasers on your model, this is what you're going to get. You wanted the 3-color lights, so I made 3-color lights. Not only that, I extended the matrix out, so this is going to be virtually twice as big, and there will be 2 of them. So make sure you show your wife so that she knows that there's been progress made on your project. Woohoo! Alright folks, that's it. Catch you later. Keep on trekking. May the force be with you. Always. Peace and long life. Later. Okay, as you can see here, I've taped off everything but the 2 triangles on the lower primary hull that I'm going to go ahead and paint a darker color. Well, this may look like a lot of extra work to get a good effect, and yeah, I guess it is, but I always think it's worth it. At any rate, we'll see what this looks like here in just a minute. The 2 triangles have been painted the darker color for the detail, as opposed to using the included decal. Now, as soon as this dries, I'll remove the tape and we'll see how the final end product looks. As you can see here, I laid down some low-tack masking tape before I added the newspaper or sale bill, sale ad. This is just to make sure I get a good strong outline. Also notice that the decals are already on the lower primary hull. They've already been sealed, and They've got a coat of clear lacquer matte finish over them, so there should be no problem removing the masking tape. The decals will not lift. And there you have it. You've got a good sharp detail, no lifting of the decals, a good permanent seal on all the paints. I'm saying it's good.